Jesse Waters just spent nearly $3 million on a mansion that looks like it belongs in a movie. And his family life is nothing. Let me tell you something that's going to surprise you about Jesse Waters. This guy who you see on Fox News every single night, sitting there in his sharp suits talking politics, actually has 4 kids at home and just became a dad again not too long ago. Most people have no idea about his personal life, but when you dig into it, there's so much more going on behind the scenes than anyone realizes. Right now in 2025, Jesse is living in one of the most incredible houses you've ever seen, and his wife Emma is raising their growing family while dealing with all the attention that comes with being married to one of the biggest names on cable news. So, let's start with the kids because that's what really matters here. Jesse has twin daughters named Sophie and Ellie who were born back in November 2011, which means these girls just turned 13 years old. Can you imagine being a teenager and your dad is on national television every single night? These twins actually graduated from middle school just this past June 2025, and they're getting ready to start high school soon. They live with Jesse part of the time and part of the time with their mom, his first wife Noelle. The cool thing is that even though Jesse and Noelle got divorced, the girls have a really good relationship with their stepmom Emma. That's not always easy to pull off in blended families, but somehow they're making it work. But here's where it gets really interesting. Jesse didn't stop at 2 kids. With his current wife Emma, he's got 2 more children who are still really young. Their son Jesse Bailey Waters Jr. was born on April 1, 2021, so he's only 3 years old right now. Emma has talked about him on social media, and she describes this little boy as kind and curious, but also stubborn and self-assured. She even called him whip smart, which is pretty high praise from a mom. Then they had another baby, a little girl they named Georgina, but everyone calls her Gigi. She was born on April 17, 2023, so she just turned 1 year old. Imagine going from having teenage daughters to starting all over again with babies. That's exactly what Jesse is doing right now, and if 4 kids weren't enough, this family just added a new puppy to the mix. Back in February 2025, they brought home a cockapoo they named Coco. They already had a mini poodle named Rookie who even has his own Instagram account, if you can believe that. So now you've got this massive household with 4 kids ranging from age 1 to 13, plus 2 dogs running around. That's a lot of chaos under one roof, but apparently Jesse and Emma are handling it pretty well. Now let's talk about Emma herself, because she's actually a really interesting person. Emma DiGiovine is 32 years old right now. She was born on June 1, 1992, which means there's a 14-year age gap between her and Jesse. He was born back in July 1978, so he's 46 years old. Emma grew up right here in New Jersey, and before she ever met Jesse, she was actually training to be a professional ballerina. She studied at the New Jersey Ballet and was really serious about dance. But then she ended up going into television production instead. Here's where the story gets a bit complicated. Emma used to work at Fox News as an associate producer, and she actually worked on Jesse's show called Waters World. That's how they met. The thing is, Jesse was still married to his first wife when their relationship started back in 2017. Obviously, that caused some drama, and some people had opinions about it, but they ended up together anyway. They got engaged in August 2019, and then got married in December of that same year down in Naples, Florida. So by the time 2025 rolled around, they've been married for about 5 years now. Emma tried to launch her own lifestyle website during the pandemic in 2020, but it didn't really take off and the site is shut down now. These days she focuses on raising the kids, and she's also on the honorary board of a nonprofit called Hope Through Education. She's pretty active on Instagram where she shares photos of their family life, and honestly she seems to really enjoy being a mom and a stepmom. It's not an easy position to be in when you're married to someone as famous as Jesse, but she seems to handle the attention pretty well. Now here's where things get really crazy. The house these people live in is absolutely insane. Back in February 2023, Jesse and Emma bought this massive mansion in Bernardsville, New Jersey for $2.8 million. When I say massive, I mean this place is over 10,000 square feet. Specifically, it's 10,296 square feet with 5 bedrooms and 5.5 bathrooms. The property sits on 5.6 acres on Bernardsville Mountain, so they've got tons of privacy and land around them. The style of this house is what really blows your mind. It's built in this Greek Revival style with these huge Doric columns out front that make it look like something from the Old South. The house was built back in 2002, so it's not brand new, but it's been really well maintained. There are these two-story wrap-around verandas that give the whole place that southern mansion feel, even though it's sitting right there in New Jersey. When you walk inside, you're hit with 12-foot ceilings, marble floors everywhere, grand staircases, and crystal chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. It's the kind of place that makes you feel like you should be wearing fancy clothes just to walk through it. The features in this house are absolutely next level. Down in the lower level, there's a full movie theater where the family can watch films together. There's also a wine cellar for Jesse's collection, and obviously a huge garage for all their cars. Outside there's a swimming pool for the summer, and get this, there's even a separate carriage house on the property that has its own guest accommodations. So when family comes to visit, they don't even have to stay in the main house. They can have their own little private space in the carriage house. The kitchen has multiple islands, which you need when you're cooking for a family of 6 plus whoever else might be around. There are fireplaces throughout the house to keep it cozy in the winter. Basically every luxury feature you can think of, this house has it. And remember, they're raising for kids into dogs in this place, so it's not just some showpiece that nobody uses. This is their actual family home where they live every single day. Before they bought this mansion, Jesse and Emma actually owned a different house down at the Jersey Shore in Beach Haven. They bought that place in April 2021 for $1.1 million. And then they sold it in March 2023 for $1.65 million. So they made about $550,000 profit on that house flip in just 2 years. Not bad for a side investment while you're already making millions from your TV job. That Beach Haven house was nice, but apparently they wanted something bigger and more private, which is why they upgraded to the Bernardsville mansion. Let's talk about the cars for a minute because Jesse is quite a collection. According to reports, he owns a Tesla Model X that cost him around $120,000. He's also got a Mercedes-Benz G-Class, which is one of those big boxy luxury SUVs that costs over $370,000. On top of that, there's a Mercedes-Benz E-Class in the garage and a Cadillac SRX. Between all these vehicles, he's got options for every situation. The Tesla is probably what Emma drives around with the kids for everyday stuff since it's practical and good for the environment. The G-Class is more of a status symbol, the kind of car you drive when you want people to know you've made it. Now let's get into the money because that's what everyone really wants to know about. As of 2025, Jesse Waters has an estimated net worth of about $10 million. That's a serious amount of money, but when you break down where it all comes from, it actually makes sense. His main source of income is his salary from Fox News, which is approximately $5 million per year. Yeah, you heard that right. $5 million every single year just for hosting his shows. He's got his primetime show called Jesse Waters Primetime that airs at 8 p.m., which is one of the most valuable time slots on cable news. He took over that spot back in June 2023. On top of that, he's also a co-host on The Five, which is another hugely popular show on Fox, but the TV salary isn't his only income. Jesse has written 2 books that both did really well. His first book came out in 2021 and it was called How I Saved the World, and it actually hit the New York Times bestseller list. That book alone probably made him hundreds of thousands of dollars or more. Then in 2024 he published another book called Get It Together, Troubling Tales from the Liberal Fringe. Between the advance payments, the royalties, and the book tours, these publishing deals add a significant chunk to his income every year. And don't forget about the real estate investments we talked about earlier. That $550,000 profit from flipping the Beach Haven house shows that Jesse knows how to play the real estate game. When you've got money to invest, real estate is often one of the smartest moves you can make, and clearly he understands that. Between his Fox News salary, his book deals, and his real estate profits, hitting that $10 million net worth isn't really that surprising. The lifestyle this family lives is pretty remarkable when you think about it. They're living in this 10,000 square foot mansion with all the luxury you could want. But at the same time they're dealing with the normal chaos of raising for kids. Emma posts photos on Instagram that show them doing regular family stuff like celebrating birthdays, playing with the dogs, and just hanging out together. The twins just graduated middle school in June 2025, and the whole family celebrated that milestone. They added the new puppy Coco to the family in February, and everyone seems excited about that. Jesse has over 1.3 million followers on Instagram, And Emma has built up her own following by sharing glimpses into their family life. It's interesting because Jesse keeps his public persona pretty focused on politics and news, but through Emma's social media you get to see the more personal side of who he is as a dad and a husband. You see him playing with his young kids, spending time with his teenage daughters, and just being a regular family man when he's not on camera at Fox News. The career side of things is going incredibly well for Jesse right now. Taking over that 8 p.m. primetime slot was huge because that's the spot Tucker Carlson used to have before he left Fox. That's the most watched hour on the network. And the fact that they gave it to Jesse shows how much confidence Fox has in him. His ratings have been solid, and he's become one of the main faces of the network alongside people like Sean Hannity and Laura Ingraham. His second book, doing well in 2024, just added to his reputation and proved that people want to hear what he has to say beyond just the TV show. Looking at everything together, Jesse Waters has built himself quite a life. He went from being a producer and making those man on the street segments years ago to becoming one of the most recognizable faces on cable news. He's making $5 million a year, living in a $3 million mansion, driving luxury cars, and raising a family of 4 kids with a wife who supports his career. The blended family situation with his twins from his first marriage and his 2 young kids with Emma could be complicated, but by all accounts they're making it work. The girls get along with Emma, everyone seems happy in their big New Jersey house, and Jesse keeps climbing higher in his career. Hit that subscribe button right now because we're bringing you more celebrity family secrets you never knew existed. The thing that makes Jesse's story interesting is that it shows you can have this high-pressure career in the spotlight and still maintain a family life. Sure, he's got the money to make things easier with the big house and probably nannies and help around the house, but at the end of the day he's still a dad coming home to 4 kids who need attention. He's still a husband who has to make time for his wife. He's still dealing with the challenge of co-parenting teenagers with his ex-wife, while also raising toddlers with his current wife. That's not easy no matter how much money you have in the bank. The fact that he's managing to do all of it while also being on national television every single night and writing best-selling books shows that he's figured out some kind of balance, even if it's not perfect. That's the real story behind Jesse Waters in 2025.